Hello, I'm Nancy Harkness, romance author, and this is Writer Unedited number 80. I am sitting at my writing desk and chatting about whatever crosses my mind, and I do this every Wednesday at 2 p.m., almost every Wednesday at 2 p.m. If you miss a live, you can always find the recordings on my YouTube channel. So, let's get talking. Okay, Gail, are you ready for it? Although you're on my email list, so you've probably already seen this already. But my big reveal is Raoul's cover. How gorgeous is Raoul? Woo! I love Raoul's cover. So yes, he has a crown on top. This is for a I'm doing a reader event in Cincinnati in a couple of weeks, and I do I host what's called a boardroom, where I have all sorts of fun activities for readers, and this is to display on the door on the way in, so that's why we have a sparkly crown on top. So, but since I had it already printed out, I figured I would just use it. Gail says, ka-thump, ka-thump. Yay, Gail, that's what I think. Ka-thump, ka-thump, because look at those eyes, right? Look at those eyes. I can never get this stupid thing centered. Look at those eyes. So, what I thought I would talk about is how I design a cover, or how a cover gets designed. And there are actually two different ways. If you're with a traditional publisher, as I was for many of my books, most of my books, you fill out a long form with, the color of the character's hair and adjectives about the mood of the book and settings and just all the background information you find, your favorite scene that you think might be good for the front cover. I mean, it takes a long time to fill it out. Oh, and other covers you think, are similar, have the right feeling, so you might want to do something sort of like that. And sometimes it feels like in a lot of cases, you've spent all this time on it, and what they design looks nothing like what you asked for. Like nothing. Okay, I'm exaggerating slightly. It's different at different publishers. So at Montlake, which is where most of my books were done, I had veto power. It was written into my contract. I don't know how my agent got that in, but she knew that I'm very particular about my covers. I think covers are incredibly important for marketing, so I'm really picky about them. So I could say no if I didn't like one of the covers and say, can we try something else? So the cover that my editor and I worked the hardest on was this one, The CEO Buys In. And it came out exactly the way I had hoped. And interestingly enough, this turned out to be my best-selling book ever. Now, do I think that was solely due to the cover? No, the market conditions were perfect. I hit the market exactly right. But do I think the cover helped? Absolutely, 100%. And I was very lucky because my editor was as committed to making the cover good as I was. And so this was a very good experience. There were a lot of iterations of this cover, but it came out beautifully. So in contrast to working with Montlake, my first two books were published by Berkley, which is part of what is now Penguin Random House. And I had no ability to influence those covers at all, other than to say, please, for Bridge to Love, which was my first published novel, please make sure it's the George Washington Bridge on the cover, because I was afraid they would do something like put the Golden Gate on the cover, and the book is all set in New York. And so here is the cover. This was the original cover for Bridge to Love. This was when I was with Berkley. And it's not that it's bad, because it's kind of pretty. And they did get, that is the George Washington Bridge, yay. But it's a little dark, and it's not a particularly dark book. Those of you who've read it know that. But, there was literally nothing I could say about it. It was what they gave you. And then my second novel that Berkley published, Shower of Stars, looks like this, which is really dark. And, it looks like romantic suspense, and my books are not romantic suspense. But again, had no input into it whatsoever. So the only thing I will say is I don't know if you can tell, the letters are raised and they're foiled. So it looked, it looked like they were paying attention. It was expensively done. So that was nice, I have to say. But now I control my covers, and I have to say I'm having to say a lot of things, aren't I? I have a great time. I'm always very careful to stick to my brand image, which is good-looking guys with clothes on, no unclothed guys. Had a sort of run-in about that at Montlake over one cover, but we got that fixed, so it was fine. But within that brand, there's a lot of room for variation, obviously, and you don't want all your covers to look exactly alike because that would be boring. So I usually have a vision for my covers that I try to articulate to my cover designer, Eileen Carey. And she somehow interprets my fumbling efforts at describing what I want and turns them into a thing of beauty. I've been working with Eileen through a lot of books. I started working with her I just got assigned her, lucky me, at Montlake. Tammy Morse is here. Tammy, how nice to see you. So glad you stopped by. And so the first cover of hers that I'm aware that she designed, because sometimes you don't know who designed your covers, is The Money Man. And I loved this cover so much from the moment I saw it. I mean, she nailed it. She made a few tweaks after the first design. I don't even remember what they were. But this was pretty much the first draft of the Money Man's cover. And I thought it was perfect, honestly. Perfect. Couldn't have been any better as far as I felt. So when I went indie, I contacted Eileen to see if she would be willing to work with me on my indie books. And she has done all the covers for the Royal Kaleva series, except for the free novella, the cover of which I did. And it's very amateurish compared to what the amazing Eileen does, of course. So how do I start on a cover? Well, so for Raoul's book, it was a little easier. Because we already had 2 books in the series. So, we didn't have to start from scratch. But what I do is I start looking, I literally comb through stock photo websites for staring at pictures of good-looking men. Torture, I know. You would think, not the worst thing ever, but after a while your eyes start crossing. But I have to say, for Raoul's cover, I came across this dude, and no, I don't know his name, and no, I will never meet him, sadly, who just looked like Raoul to me, perfectly. But so obviously things need to be changed because he's in some kind of like basket chair or something, and that's not appropriate for the Prince of Kaleva. So I came up with, so he was my model, and there were multiple poses that he was in, but out of all of them, and you guys, by the way, helped me pick him. I don't remember if you remember voting, but when I was looking at various cover models, you said this was the guy, and you were absolutely right. But there were several poses, and this was the one I ultimately decided, basically said what I wanted to say, right, with body language. So that was the guy. Then you have to decide the other details, like, the background and that sort of thing. So I decided right from the start that the color scheme was going to be Kalevan teal, green, because Gabrielle's book was red, Luis's book was blue, so I had to do a different color because I want them to all look good together, right? So here, let's show them all together. Because that's part of the branding, obviously, is the series. So Raoul and Gabrielle, you can see how they refer to each other. And then I have Louise here too. So that's Gabrielle. And then Raoul and Luis. On your screen, the colors don't look different, but they're significantly different, believe me. But you want them to all tie into each other without looking too much alike, because they're a series, obviously. So I didn't want Raoul sitting in a basket chair, so I went looking for chairs. So again, combed through a whole bunch of stock photo websites, and I found this chair that has some heft to it, and it's not a throne because he's not the king. I didn't want him on the throne, but I wanted him to look like, he was in slightly antique because, he's a prince He lives in a palace, a historic palace. And so I thought this was a perfect chair for him. And notice it's red. And the cover was going to be teal. And of course, that's one of the things that Eileen works for Magic with. Tammy says they look awesome. Thank you, Tammy. I'm very happy with them, to be honest. So I send the photos that I've chosen to my cover designer, Eileen, and ask her if she can work with them, to be honest, because, you know, she's magic. She's like a magician, but there are limitations to even what she can do. But she was okay with those. And so she puts together the pictures and sends me a first draft. And you'll notice that there are curtains back here. I don't actually pick those. I let Eileen find those because all the covers have curtains in the background. We tried variations on that theme, and it just didn't work because it was too distracting if you changed the texture of the background within the series. So she finds the curtains for me, which is, yeah. What else I was going to say? Oh, so she sends me back the first drafts, and, you know, there were, I mean, it's hard to explain the very subtle differences because, again, we already have the fonts and the basic layout, so she doesn't have to do anything with that. But, like, the color of the chair, she had multiple versions of that, and I had to pick the color that I liked. And the color of the curtains, again, she had gradations of shades, so I had to choose that. So I make all the choices that she offers me, and then I had tweaks of my own, so I don't know if you can see it, but he now has a red tie. He has a black tie in the stock photo. And I asked her to add blonde streaks to his hair because Raoul has blonde streaks in his hair. So she did those tweaks. There wasn't really anything else she needed to do. This cover went very smoothly. I mean, honestly, with Eileen, they all go smoothly because she's just very, very good at her job. So then she makes the changes I ask her to and the tweaks with the blonde streaks, and then sends me back. You know, it goes back and forth a few times, and then I say, okay, that's the one, finalize it. So we're done with the Kindle cover, which is just this. But of course, we still need a print cover because you have to do this, right? The problem with this is I have to write this information, the back cover copy, and I hate doing that. And so I procrastinate, but I have done it now. So I will now be able to send her the back cover copy, and she can do the full print back like this. And that's how a book cover gets designed. Do you guys have questions about the process? I enjoy it. I think it's fun. I'm a visual person, so as well as a word person. So designing things is kind of my jam. And since I have Eileen the Magician to make my dreams come true, you know, it's a really fun process. And that's my process. Other people may have different ones, but I care deeply about my covers. I really do. And I also try to design classic covers that won't have to be changed multiple times, because some people put new covers on their books all the time, and I don't honestly want to do that. So I want to design covers that hold up over time. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a secret, and you guys, please don't tell anyone else. It's a big secret. Raoul is up for pre-order on Kindle on Amazon as of yesterday afternoon. I got him up. I have not told anyone. I haven't announced it anywhere yet. You guys are the first to know. He is up on sale for pre-order for $2.99. That's a special price for pre-order. The price will go up to $5.99 1 week after the release date. And the release date is, drumroll, September 24th. I know that sounds like a long way away, but it really isn't, because I'm still editing, and I will have to do 2 more rounds of edits, and editing counts proofreading. And then my brilliant formatter has to format it, and believe you me, it will be tight to get it out on September 24th, but it will be coming out. Ooh. Gail says, yay. Lynn says, woohoo. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Tammy says, I agree with you with the cover. Oh, good. I'm so glad, Tammy. So that's the big secret. It is up for pre-order. As always, I will be donating a percentage of my royalties to an animal rescue organization chosen by my daughter, the veterinarian. In fact, she's already sent me one, but I can't remember the full name of it, so I'm not going to say it now. But I will be announcing it in my newsletter and obviously on Facebook. And you guys will probably hear it more times than you really want to. But in fact, I don't even have it on my website yet. It's literally just up on Amazon. But it feels so good to see it there. I can't tell you. It's like, yay! It's almost as exciting as the moment you get the first print copy. For some reason, even though most of my sales are digital, like way the most of my sales are digital, holding a print copy just makes it real. There's just something about print. So I'm going to just show you Raoul one more time. Although you can now stare at him on Amazon if you wish to. Here, pull him away a little bit so you can see him. Isn't he gorgeous? So gorgeous. Oh, love him. I'm very fickle. I always love the latest cover the best. I guess I just get familiar with the others. So. Okay, so that's my big secret. That's my cover reveal. And now we'll talk about sale books. So The CEO Buys In, which I talked about a little earlier, which is my best-selling book, is on sale from June 9th to June 15th. I don't know why those dates. My publisher picks these things, does these things, for $1.99 on Kindle. So very good deal on Kindle. And then for the whole month of June, the 2 novels in my Second Time Around, my Second Glances series. Sorry, I'm trying to get my fingers off the titles. Second Time Around, which is the first book in the Second Glances series. And Second Act, which is the second and final book in the Second Glances series. They are on sale on Kindle. Second Time Around is $1.99. And Second Act is $2.49, and those are on sale for the whole month. So I always like to talk about Second Act because it has not sold as well as a lot of my other books. And it's one of my favorite books because my daughter and I collaborated on the heroine's a vet, and my daughter and I collaborated on the vet scenes in this, which I had so much fun with. And I think this book is really romantic. So I hope people will try it for $2.49. And my final announcement is that next week I have book club in the afternoon, so I will be here at 7 p.m. next Wednesday, what's the date? The 11th. No. Yes, sorry. The 11th. I will be here at 7 p.m. because I have book club. Does anybody have a question for me? Are we all good? I hope you enjoyed my little description of cover designing because, as I said, I think it's a lot of fun. It's also very important for the book because it's the marketing package, right? And unfortunately, as authors, we have to worry about marketing, not just writing. Well, thank you all so much for coming. It was great to see you here. And I will see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Take care. Bye-bye.